Te pito mata, the potential of your child. If we're going to talk about fulfilling your child's potential, then there's three really important concepts you need to wrap your mind around straight away, the three most fundamental things. If this was a real estate seminar, I'd tell you the three most important things you need to understand about real estate are location, location, location. Because it's a brain development seminar, a reaching your child's full potential seminar, if you like, then the three most important things you need to know about reaching your child's full potential are relationships, relationships, relationships. They really are. The human brain is a tool, a biological tool for relationships. It's not just about academic outcomes. So what we're going to talk about now specifically are the huge body of research that talks about the connection between you and the school, or the relationship that you have with your child's teacher. Then we're going to look at the importance of the relationship your child has with their teacher. That's the next section. And then section 3 is going to be about their relationships with each other. Okay? So relationships, relationships, relationships. Starting off with this crucial one about your connection to the school and your relationship to the teacher. Now there is a massive body of research that basically shows the stronger the relationship between home and school, the better the academic outcomes for kids. So going to the school is definitely worth it. The more you go, apparently, the better the academic outcomes for the children. Now that can be difficult for some parents. My mum wouldn't come to the school. If you didn't experience a successful time at school yourself, I mean, this can be hard for teachers to relate to because they had such a wonderful time at school, they never ever left. We stayed and become teachers. But for a lot of parents, school is a place that told you you were dumb. School is a place that told you you weren't good enough. So all of that anxiety can come up when you go to school again. Just know that most people feel like that. So if you can push past that and just go to the school anyway, you've got every right to be there. Your taxes for the rest of your life are going to be paying for that, so you might as well get your money's worth. Go to the school, not to be difficult, but just to help. Just you going to the school and connecting with the school is going to help your child reach their full potential. Some of you might have been aware of Professor Russell Bishop has a program called Te Kotahitanga that was very, very successful in lifting outcomes for Māori. And it's so successful. When I work in Australia, there's lots of people over there implementing another version in Australia over there. At its heart, what Te Kotahitanga was doing was making sure, I mean it was multifaceted obviously, but a huge component was actually just making sure that the teacher had a relationship with the parents. So that child was not just seen as a unit by themselves, but was a member of a whānau. And having to have that relationship, I mean, I believe that's a huge part of what Te Kotahitanga's strengths were as an intervention, was strengthening that relationship. So yeah, not just the interviews, going on and pick up the kid from school and saying hello to the teacher, it's worth building a good relationship with the teacher, feeling like she can approach you and you can approach her. That sort of highlights then the relationship between the child and the teacher. This is a huge one in the research because our country doesn't really follow the research when it comes to this. Basically, all of our documents will talk about how important it is to have a high quality, reciprocal, responsive relationship. We'd say the stronger the relationship between the teacher and the child, the better the outcomes. In fact, we can even go one stronger than that and say the number one factor in the research for your child's academic outcomes at school, beyond anything else we can measure, beyond your relationship with the school, beyond their IQ, beyond how rich you are, beyond how qualified the parents are, beyond any other factor that we can measure, the number one factor that relates to how well your child does academically at school is their relationship with the teacher. The problem that I have here is that schools in New Zealand want to change that teacher every year. And so you end up finishing school having 25 superficial relationships instead of one or two really meaningful relationships. If we were following the research, it would say build on that relationship. Now, similar to what Steiner schools do. If you ever, you tend to keep the same teacher for a long, long time. Now that has a double whammy benefit. Not only does the quality of the relationship between teacher and child get a whole lot better, but also the relationship between the parent and the teacher, because you're seeing the same teacher year in and year out. So you really get to be able to build up a communication model, understand each other, you're really on the same page. The more that the teacher becomes like the child's auntie or uncle, and less just like a professional figure. I mean, aunties and uncles still operate within boundaries and appropriateness, so the more they are like an uncle and auntie, and the less they're like just a stiff upper class, uppercut, distant type teacher that's very formal, the better the academic outcomes for the children. So when you're looking at a school for your child, one of the major things you want to look at is how long are they going to keep that teacher. I'd always choose a teacher that I know was going to be my child's teacher for 3 years over any teacher that was going to be a teacher for only 1 year. valued long-term relationships. This third area, the area of children's peer relationships, relationships between each other, not quite as clear in the research. There is a huge variation in how important this is to children. You know, our stereotype of little girls are ganging together in little gangs and got their best friend for life when they're like 4, and then boys are often 8 and still just hanging out with whoever was around at the time and don't necessarily seem to, you know, they might be intense best friends with someone for 2 or 3 days or that week, but then the next week it's someone else. It tends to drift in and come and go. Don't worry too much about their peer relationships in terms of you know, whether they've got enough or whether they're having enough friends. What the literature tells us pretty simply is the children you have to worry about are the children that don't have any friends. So if your child's changing their friends every week, there's no indication, especially if they're a boy, but no indication even if they're a girl that that's a problem. So it's very clear that the stronger the relationship between you and the school, or you and the teacher, the better the academic outcomes. The stronger the relationship between the child and their teacher, the better the academic outcomes. Now when we talk about interactions between child and child, getting on with their peers, there's not so much the same body of literature that relates that to their academic outcomes. But everyone wants their child to have friends and get on with people. There is a huge variation in what is normal in the literature. You know, you've got some little kids that are 5 have clung on to another group of kids and they're all best type friends for the rest of their lives. Typically that's more common with girls. And then it's typically more common with boys that you've got an 8 or a 9-year-old who seems to change his best friend every day or weekly and doesn't seem really committed to any one ongoing friend as long as there's someone there at the time. And all of that's fine and all of that's normal. Really your interactions with peers, what the literature tells us is as long as there is some peer interaction going on, it's never going to be easy, it's always going to involve a bit of bullying. We all know kids can be cruel. It's never going to be a smooth sailing road, but what the literature tells us is as long as there is a road, the only children you have to worry about are the ones that are completely isolated, completely cut off and don't have any friends whatsoever. You know, that can lead to delays in development. But yeah, for everyone else, it's really just your job just to try and support them through their interactions with their peers. Offer what we call pro-social advice for dealing with them. So it's not going to be helpful. You say, oh yeah, she's a bitch. You know, like you need to not get on side with your kids like you're their friend, but offer them pro-social advice, which means strategies they can actually use to enhance that situation. So another name for it is cognitive training. It doesn't matter what it's called really, it's just the best thing you can do for your child's peer interactions is to offer them strategies that will help improve their relationship. So when they say this girl picked on me and now she says I'm not going to be her friend anymore and you know she's going to invite everyone else to her birthday party except for me, it's called relationship bullying. Rather than going, oh she's really mean, she sounds really horrible, I wouldn't even be friends with her, that's not giving the child the skill base to know how to deal with that. What's a pro-social way of responding to that? It might be as simple as going, oh well it sounds like she's quite angry with you, maybe she just needs some time, maybe you just need to back off from her for a week and maybe try and talk to her next week. Something as simple as that is pro-social, helpful advice that builds up your child's social skills and helps with their social interactions.